Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Be me tonight, sitting in the passenger seat of a car with some friends driving on the way back from a road trip. I am on a freeway, passing a college town in the desolate foothills of southeastern Idaho. It is about midnight, and most of them are asleep. I am staring out the window and listening to music. I am getting mighty sleepy. I notice something on the side of the other lane that seems off. On the side of the road, there is a sharp hill with a street lamp. I see a black cloaked figure right there facing away from the road and toward a small silo on the top of the hill. I sit up straight in my seat suddenly and watch it before it passes. The figure is just standing there. The street lamp is casting the figure's shadow against the grass of the hill. It is definitely a person. The street lamp above it is bright enough to show the drapiness of its clothes. Drapiness is a word. It seems to have a black cloak or veil draped over its head that reaches all the way down to the ground. The person has their back turned and does not move at all. I only get to see it for a few seconds before our car passes it. What was that person doing? I was wide awake and spooked the rest of the ride home. I doubt it was a statue or a leftover Halloween decoration, because it was such an unappealing and odd position to put one. Cult member? Ghost. Also in this thread share more creepy road stories.
I worked for AAA for some time a few years ago. I've got a few. I get a call for a stranded motorist, flat tire. This is probably more than half of the calls I get. I drive to the location. The car is there, doors open. The person is gone. I look around with my mag light, calling out for her and getting nothing. I checked with my boss. Yep, that is the location. The car looks new and is still on. The place is sort of like PIC related, but paved roads. I am getting spooked. I call the state troopers. I knew a lot of them just because of this stuff. We'll include them in future stories. A state E comes up. He and I look around. We find the woman in the woods, beaten and bloody. While waiting for me, she said a guy just pulled over, walked up, kicked the shit out of her, robbed her, dragged her to the woods, and said he would come back and kill her in a minute. She passed out, woke up to me and the state trooper. She did not know the guy, just somebody decided to pull off and rob and assault her. I've got a handful more, but I have to go to work for a few hours. If this thread is still up when I'm back, I'll post some more stories. If not, I'll make my own thread. I've been meaning to do this for a while anyway. And I'm back. Most of my stories aren't supernatural, though some are. It's more about people being weird, scary, stupid, etc. I get another call for a stranded motorist. Again, out in the sticks off of a highway. I pull up to some older 1980s-era Cadillac and a group of guys standing around it. Their car broke down trying to drive on the hick country roads. I pull up, act cordial and professional. Hello, what is the problem? ID and car info, please. It is in my glove box. Come on, I will get it. I walk with this guy around his car. I just so happen to look in the back seat. I see 2 AKs, some cut-down shit gun, another rifle and a big revolver on the seat. They notice me noticing and they start to have a silent conversation between nods and eye contact amongst themselves, while I stand in the middle between them. I am thinking about having to turn and run when one reaches behind his back. I almost make a break for it when I see it is his wallet. So lots of boxes and shit in the car, huh? I can barely see what we got in there half the time. And he hands me $400. Yep, lots of stuff. Lots of miscellaneous stuff. I fill out the paperwork, begin to hook up their car when I see them bring the guns and some more boxes into the woods, hiding them to, I assume, pick up later. I drive them and the now empty car to the shop. We stop at a McDonald's on the way and they pay for me. Still the best tips I have ever gotten. AAA guy from before, this is a more funny one. I am called to the scene of an accident. Sometimes they are not so bad. Other times I am walking into a potential fight between the drivers. I have to be a little precautionary, just in case. I pull up and see two fat middle-aged guys in the middle of an argument near the two crashed cars. Oh boy, here we go. Oh, finally, it is the guy we called. Let me tell you what this asshole did. Who the fuck are you calling asshole, buddy? Don't you ever call me an asshole, fuckface? Guys, I'm not the police and I really do not care. Just help me with this paperwork. They keep mumbling insults to each other and I'm just trying to keep the peace. Well, let me tell you, this guy is lucky he caught me on a good day or he would be fucking dead. Oh yeah. One goes around to his car, which usually means he is getting a weapon or camera. Either way, I am hauling ass back to my truck. I see him come around with, I shit you not, a fucking broadsword. The other guy stumbles back, then goes to his car and pulls out another broadsword. There's about 7 feet between them. They start swinging them around like the saddest Lord of the Rings movies you have ever seen. They're not even close to hitting each other, and they get winded very quickly before falling over on either side of the cars. I just sit back and watch. I don't know what else to do. The cops show up and arrest both of them. They search their cars, find all kinds of medieval weapons and clothes. Both of these guys came from a local Renaissance fair. I later found out they were brothers. AAA guy here, can't believe this thread is still up, so here's another. I get a call about engine trouble. A woman says she made it to a hotel though, so it is not an emergency. I get up there around dusk but still plenty light out. The woman is standing on the edge of the property, bags in hand. As I pull up, she comes right over and starts to get in my car. Whoa, what the hell are you doing? I am not going back to that place. The guy who works there is a creep. Can you just please drive away from here? Please just go. I calm her down and explain that I am not a taxi and I need to get the car unless it is a serious emergency or threat. She says her car was running out of gas, so she stopped at this motel in the middle of nowhere. I had never even been here before, and I have been around. The guy at the counter was a little creepy, but motel in the middle of nowhere, what do you expect? He kept bugging her if she needed anything, trying to get in her room or get her to come out. She said she locked the door and even put some furniture in front of it. He was persistent. Every hour he would come by with food, towels, asking to show her around to the point where she had to tell him to fuck off. The last straw was when she was sitting in bed and heard him breathing in the next room, right up against the wall to her room. She was like 90% sure he was peeping on her, so she goes to the front desk where another guy was working, said she is leaving right now. Both of them follow her to her room and start pounding on the door saying let them in and they are going to talk. She climbed through the window with all her luggage and went to her car, which wouldn't start. She called me and waited. As she is saying this, I see 3 figures in the doorway watching us. Screw this, we drive to the police station. They send a patrol car with me to get the car. I see the brake lines underneath had been cut, along with some other stuff. Worst off, all the cops could prove they did it, even though they knew these guys were creeps.
Canada friend here. Live in Northern Ontario, Geraldton. It's not really far north, but it's northern in comparison to where the majority of people in Ontario live, and I come across tons of long stretches of roads, with pretty much no one on them. Very nice in the day, but pretty spooky at night. Here's my story. Be me. Driving back from work late at night, maybe 1 a.m. Long country road to get back into town. A few houses dot it, but it is pretty much completely empty. I always drive by this one house on the road that is abandoned. Textbook spooky, boarded up windows and doors. I am about to come up by the house while I am driving. I usually stare at the house as I pass by, but I am distracted by music and not paying attention. Suddenly I see something on the road. I freak out and swerve around it, almost going into the ditch. I stop my car a little farther ahead to look back, freaked that I may have hit an animal or something. I see a dude in the center of the road, taking some long but flat thing off the road. I see a metal glint from my lights. It is some sort of rug or flooring, but it has got something sharp embedded in it, like glass or nails. Imagine one of those police strips to pop tires but homemade, and you get the idea. The guy hurries back into the house. I drive off. The next few days I heard from my buddy that the police busted some squatters camping out in an abandoned house outside of town. I almost got ambushed by squatters.
It was my second time visiting my then girlfriend, now wife, in the US. I'm from Europe, she's from the South, probably has some cool stories about the mountain highways over there. I'll see if she'll share any. Driving from Arkansas to meet with some friends in Rio Rancho, New Mexico for the second time on that trip. I was pretty excited and had a job interview with a company that would consider sponsoring me for a visa. It fell through, and they fired the secretary who was supposed to tell me, who then neglected to tell her replacement to pass on the bad news. Sadly, for us, we didn't book a motel in Amarillo in advance, and as shitty luck would have it, there was a rodeo in town, so everywhere was full of people in chaps and silly hats. That meant we had to drive on to Tucumcari, New Mexico in the middle of the night, because no way in hell was I stopping at any of the little one-toilet towns between the two. Because I like having functioning door locks on my motel room. The first trip out to New Mexico, we stopped in Shamrock, Texas, and I think Vega, Texas, and in both places our room got double booked and someone tried the door. So no, and fucking no. I was not staying in any of the little holes in the sand between Amarillo and the glorified truck stop, known as Tucumcari. I don't know what made this noise, but when you hit a certain part of northwest Texas, eastern New Mexico, near the state line, you lose your radio signal, or at least my wife's old Chevy Cavalier did, while traveling along that deadly silent stretch of road, with the window open to keep myself awake, with the airflow at 2:30 a.m., I hear a scream. In retrospect, it was probably a fox or a coyote or something, but I heard this scream that my tired mind magnified into something horrifying, right as a New Mexico State Police Suburban streaks by with its lights off. I assume it was the State Police Suburban I found at a truck stop I pulled up to not long after. Their lights were off and the troopers were just chilling on the forecourt. So, I'm tired, and in New Mexico. I hear a terrible scream, and a big black shape whooshes by. I was extremely thankful that I hadn't eaten recently enough to shit myself.
This isn't paranormal, but it scared the shit out of me. 5 a.m., just a bit before dawn. I walked to the corner store to get a cup of coffee, as I often do. I live in a shitty apartment in an otherwise nice area, just off a usually packed main road, next to a cemetery. I get to the main road through the cemetery entrance, as it is a more direct route. The main road has no proper sidewalk. It still has a shoulder. I am not walking on lawns. There are only 2 or 3 cars the whole walk most mornings. I watch for oncoming cars and step away to the far edge when they pass. A lone car driving normally, middle of the lane. It suddenly swerves at least 5 feet in my direction. It goes well into the shoulder, over the line, like they are actively trying to hit me. I reflexively jump onto someone's lawn to avoid the car. It would have clipped me if I stood still. I watch the car as I get up. The car pulls over and stops after a few seconds. I keep walking, but looking over my shoulder at them. I am thinking I am about to get mugged or killed. They drive away after like 20 seconds. I didn't catch their plates because it was dark and I am stupid. I have no idea why they did that. My theory is it was one of you fuckers thinking I was a spooky ghost due to my walking out from a cemetery entrance and trying to make a point.
Me and my friends explore spooky places in South Dakota all the time, including so far the Yankton Insane Asylum, a lot of small abandoned buildings, and the scariest of them all so far, Spook Road. Spook Road is a local urban legend. I remember the actual name of the road very clearly. Despite me having horrible directional skills, 264th Street. It was the scene of a triple murder and a self-termination. There are graveyards, mostly family ones, sporadically on the side of the road. It is very foresty and has huge trees all along it. It was rumored to be littered with abandoned buildings. My mom and her sister went there when they were younger, and they claim her hood started opening and closing and that their headlights were constantly flickering. I, being the skeptic that I am, did not believe them at all. That was a terrible mistake. Me and my friends set out. We got a crowbar, flashlights, our camera, and loads of other tools we might have needed. We got into my car. I pulled up Google Maps, and we left at around 11:30 p.m. It was a 30-minute drive to get there from where we all lived. And we were bringing a new guy with us, named Gage. Gage is pretty immature, but also a hilarious guy to bring on the trip. He has a growth disability which makes him look really young, which the other guys made fun of him for plenty. The other guys were not expecting much, as was I, but Gage kept on joking that it would be completely over the top, like a ghost would pop out of nowhere, kidnap, and Chris Chan us. Little did we know, something over the top was actually going to occur, so we arrived. When we first arrived, nothing significant happened. There were 5 bridges we were supposed to cross. The first was the scene of the self-termination. There were no abandoned buildings we could see. New, modern homes were being built there, and it almost felt like a normal road. Around the 3rd bridge, our cameraman, Isaac, said he wanted to get out to get a shot of the moon. I complied and let him try and get a shot. Isaac hops out of the car to get the shot. Then, Isaac's childhood best friend, Aiden, whispered to me the bright idea of speeding off and leaving poor Isaac in the dark, alone, with no flashlight. I floored it. Isaac ran after us, but it was no use. We pulled at least 100 meters ahead and I turned off the headlights. The Spook Road has a very eerie feeling when it is pitch black dark out. I am not afraid of the dark, and I never have been. But being out there, Even enclosed safely in a car with Gage and Aiden, I was petrified. I could not imagine the fear Isaac was having. Isaac had not come back. It had been at least 5 minutes, and he should have caught up by then. Aiden started to worry. I started backing up and turned the lights on, and suddenly, out of nowhere, bam. 2 palms landed on my driver's side window, and my door swung wide open. It was Isaac. With a wide, laughing grin, he exclaimed, "Gotcha." I guess that was fair. I left him stranded in the woods, so he royally scared the absolute shit out of me. We drove further down Spook Road, this time past all the bridges. I saw a trail leading off the road, so I drove on it to try and find a non-noticeable place to park. It led to an empty gravel lot surrounded by fields. So much for being non-noticeable. I parked my car in the middle, where I'm sure anyone could see it from the road if they shined a light on it. We grabbed our tools and we started walking toward the road. We were walking, joking, and then it happened. In the sky, I saw a light approaching us. I alert my friends and say, "Hey guys, I think there is a helicopter coming towards us." They all look and say it is probably not coming towards us, but it was getting closer. I saw it had a spotlight on it, and then we all started to panic. It was getting closer, and the spotlight was getting brighter. As the blinding light came closer and brighter, I looked down at the ground, only to see it was illuminated. The spotlight was literally, unmistakably right on us. Holy shit. It did not stay there for long, thank God. It then brushed over us and then kept flying in the same direction. We were spooked. Everyone was panicking, but we did not come all this way for nothing. We kept heading to the road. On the side of the road, there was an abandoned hunting shack or something like that. It was completely enshrouded in trees, easy to miss. We headed towards it and explored it a little. Not much there, we cannot get in. There were broken windows and such, but there were metal bars behind the broken glass and a heavy-duty door on the front. No hope in even trying to get in. So we start walking down the road further. Out of nowhere, we heard a weird fucking noise. Like nothing I have ever heard before. It sounded like a low humming. Suddenly in the distance we see headlights. They were fucking bright. We were not in them yet, but they were bright. They were getting continuously closer, so we ran down the road back towards the little shack. We barely made it to the shack in time, and as we were running towards it, Aiden clotheslined himself on a chain running along the entrance of where the shack was. Aiden was mumbling in pain, and the truck drove by. Very, very slowly. And it had 2 huge spotlights on it. Not their headlights, actual spotlights. We all held our breath. What would happen if we get caught out here, after the town's curfew, with various tools for breaking into places? The spotlights were pointed directly into the woods, and they just barely skimmed over our heads. Thank God. The truck drove by us. We waited for a good minute. We checked on Aiden and helped him up, but he still seemed to be in pretty bad shape, and he had a few big cuts on his legs. We usually bring a medic guy named David with us on our adventures, but we did not this time. We started running again. This time, at my advice, towards the truck, which was now at least a few hundred meters down the road. The only way to get back to my car was to run towards it and get onto the off-road just a few dozen meters behind the truck. The truck had stopped further down the road towards where we were running. It looked like a few people got out and were looking around for someone. We ran and ran. We ran back to the car. We had no medical shit, so Aiden splashed some vodka onto his wounds. No idea if that is a good idea or not. I started driving the car without the headlights on. I could not see shit. I had to drive based purely on what I remembered the road as. We barely snuck by the truck. Thankfully, my car was really quiet, and the people seemed to be pretty far away from their truck by that point. When we were driving away from various different roads connected to Spook Road, there were cars driving back and forth. Not usual traffic for what the time was, I believe around 1 a.m. We passed one, and it was a pure black Escalade with completely tinted windows. It did not stop us or anything. I have tinted windows too, so for all they know, we are just a local farmer going to tend to his cows or some shit like that. Aiden gave a summary of what happened to the camera, and we all head home. In conclusion, think what you will about this story. Perhaps it's just the police force trying to crack down on stupid punks trying to investigate a bogus local urban legend. I'm sure we're not the first to try. But what explains the odd, low humming noise? Why and how would a tiny town? Brandon is the city Spook Road is in. It's miniature. Fund a helicopter and several patrol vehicles to monitor it. I don't know what to think, to be honest. I have no idea. Please give me some theories.
Driving to my house one night last week with a friend. It is dark out, a back road, but there are still a few cars passing us here and there. I get to a point where the road is angled in a way that you can see the cars ahead of you entering a large curve, and then they are briefly hidden until they come out at the other end of the curve. I see 2 sets of headlights ahead of us. I only see one set of headlights exit the curve as we pass. I say nothing at first, assume I was wrong in seeing 2 sets of headlights. My friend turns to me and says, "Wait, were not there 2 cars ahead of us anon?" Holy shit, he saw it too, .jpg. I agree with him and both of us freak out and begin speculation. I've lived in the same house for over a decade and have driven that same road hundreds of times /x/. There's no turn-off around that curve, no hidden roads or driveways. On one side of the road is the rocky face of a mountain, and the other is guardrails to keep vehicles from going over an embankment. Neither of us can come up with an explanation. The vehicle was definitely there, and then it just wasn't.
This thread might die any minute now, but I'll share 2 stories. Driving home from work, I take a route where 2 lanes go one direction and 2 lanes go another. It confuses people who are not from around here and causes people to go the wrong direction thinking it is a regular road. This is important later in the story. Anyways, it is 11 p.m. and I am heading home and I am tired. I approach this stoplight and see from a distance headlights coming towards me. What the fuck, .jpg. The headlights start getting closer. I start honking my horn. The other car does not stop. I hold my horn down and yell out my window. What the fuck, you are going the wrong way. At this point, the car is probably 20 feet away from me. I panicked. I run the light and swerve to the other lane. The other driver screeches to a dead stop. Our cars are now side to side facing opposite directions. I look over at the driver in sheer curiosity. It is a kid in a new-looking Subaru. I suddenly feel a jolt of compassion and want to help the kid out. I figured he was not from around here. I yell, "Hey, you are going the wrong way, and are you all right, man?" The kid just keeps looking ahead. Then he turns really quickly, and there are tears running down his face. Not like a sad, I am an edgy teenager tear. like genuine fear for something, as if he was prepared to off himself. I almost wanted to get out and help him, but I see car lights in my rearview mirrors approaching. The kid suddenly floors it into the closest street and drives into the night. I still think about what the hell was that kid thinking. He couldn't have been more than 14, and I strongly feel like he was running away from something. There is definitely folklore up in some of these mountains. Another story. I wasn't driving in this one, but it still scares the hell out of me and involves a road. Be me in high school. My friends have an idea to TP this one guy's house. We will call him Bob. I did not have beef with Bob, so I did not want to be involved. Plus, I knew his family owned tons of guns, so I did not want any part of it. My friends egg me on to join, but I am persistent. I finally agree I will be lookout for cars, since the guy's house is so close to a main road. The night comes and we walk from my friend's house to Bob's. It is a 2-mile walk. It is 2 a.m., and my friends and I are walking on the side of the road to TP someone's house. Oh God. JPG, walking in itself was scary as shit, because we had to jump in bushes when avoiding headlights from approaching cars. We finally arrive, and I am staked out at a huge orchard. I look out into the field and see pure darkness and rows of trees. I do not want to look like a punk in front of my friends, so I pick a location on high ground and hide under a tree. My friends leave me to TP Bob's. I am all alone in a huge orchard at 3 a.m. in October. All I see around me are rows of trees shrouded by darkness and moonlight. But I can see the road about 60 feet in front of me and a lightly dimmed house in the distance. I have my phone on me to let my friends know if a car is coming. I am texting my girlfriend too, but I did not want attention on me cause of the cell phone light, so I limited my usage of the phone. A couple cars passed by, I warn my friends, and they hide. It was like this until I see this 1970s F-150 drive by. I warn my friends and I drop my phone. I fucking panicked. I lay on my phone trying to cover the light. I hear the truck stop from afar. Oh shit. It stops in the middle of the road, in front of the weirdly dimmed house. An old guy gets out. I could barely look at his face, but his body looks like a buff Santa Claus. He looks like the type of guy that did hard time. He just stands there looking out in the orchard. Suddenly, the guy pulls out a light and shines it on the orchard. He is just looking around. He begins walking into one of the rows, shining his light around. I muster the courage to sprint to the back of the orchard where this pond is. I dead sprint to the pond and call my friends. Abort, fucking abort. I hide out next to this rusty car next to the pond. The old guy is still walking, eventually gets close enough to me where I could hear him talking. He is saying, "I am sorry, forgive me, won't you?" Under his breath, he keeps repeating, "Forgive me." He stands close to the pond and looks in it. He looks at the sky and then keeps repeating it. He turns around, goes back to his truck, and goes the opposite direction into the deep North Carolina mountains. To this day, my friends don't even believe me. I almost gave up too and revealed myself to him out of fear. Lord knows what would have happened to me. I am deadly afraid of orchards in the dark now.
Glad this thread is still up. I wanted to tell one of my stories, but I had other business to attend to. Don't care if you people are still lurking or not. It is around 11 p.m. or so. I am driving home after a house party. The party was held near this huge lake in the middle of the woods. So driving back through was dark as hell due to the foliage. My brights had been fucked up for a few days. I did not have time to see a mechanic about it. No brights equals cannot see shit farther ahead. After about 5 minutes of driving, I look out my window and see several white dots deep within the woods and floating above the tree branches. My first thought was fireflies, since it was summertime. My next thought was they were glowing eyes. Now that I reflect on it, they looked almost as if it came out of an old cartoon where you simply see eyes staring at you from the woods. I look back on the road and I see what appears to be a black mass in the middle of the road. It looked like a featureless silhouette of a large fat person. Before I can react, I plow through the thing going 55 miles per hour. Knocked out .jpg. It goes right over my hood, cracking my windshield in the process, and goes over my car. I slam on my brakes and look in my rear-view mirror, trying to make out what the fuck I hit. A small pool of liquid, similar color to the body, begins forming around it. Before I get out of my car to investigate, the thing starts getting up. It looks directly at my car, exposing its face. In the darkness, I could only make out the white glowing eyes, exactly like the dots I had seen beforehand. As I am gawking at this abomination trying to get up, something lands on the roof of my car. I practically shit my pants as it makes a huge dent in my roof upon impact. I lock my car doors and floor that fucker. Another creature appearing strikingly similar to the thing I hit topples off and hits the ground. Both of them begin howling. The only thing I could compare the sound to is a goat being thrown in a vacuum cleaner. I hear more howls coming from the woods as I tactically shit my pants and drive away. I can see several silhouettes like the creatures I described coming from the woods and towards my car. They are pretty slow, so I easily outrun them, or outdrive in this case. I see more of them on the road. I swerved around them. I almost flew into a ditch. After about 10 more minutes of this, I finally got out of the woods. I can see almost 30-some standing at the tree line watching as I drive off. I arrive home, explain to my parents why the car is fucked. I tell them a short version of what happened. They do not buy it, yell at me, and make me pay for repairs out of my pocket. I have never seen anything similar to it again for the last 7 years.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.